Okay, next video. This is a mod from the same place as the Ninja Turtles mod that we just did, if you watched that video. And this is what's included. A little more complicated. Looks like the same type of connector. Looks like nope, that's a different type of connector. But this looks like just a little like radio controlled car, something, little servo that moves back and forth, that I think is going to control and move. This clamps onto a wire. So yeah, we're going to need some better instructions than no instructions that we got. But this is another Yoyokopter mod. Looks like these two. Oh, this probably picks up that same 5 volts, but I don't know as of right now what all these connect to. But this is splicing. These are wire splices, so that's gonna splice down over another wire. So it looks like another connector probably goes into those 3, might go into that, but I don't see a mark. I'll just have to, yeah, there's the wires. So it goes this way. You can see the white wire on this side. 3 connectors, white, red, black, and this is white, red, black on this one. So that does connect into this, but then where these go, I can't tell you. Maybe they clip onto the back of the dinosaur, the red, yellow, and green wire there. But then we also have a white wire here that gets crimped on, and we have a red wire that gets crimped on. So we'll see about instructions and all that good stuff, what we can make happen here. All right, first thing it said to do was to take out the T-Rex. So just 2 screws behind it. You can see those screws just go straight through there, and I just got to them from the back side. It's pretty dark, but you get the idea. 2 screws there, and then we'll take out the 2 screws in his mouth there, and that should lower his jaw. Looks like it takes out his jaw. Cool. All right, next step, unscrew these 3 screws. Take that out, and now he's clean. All right, it says take the 2 screws out of the base of the head and put them back into here, and tighten these 2 black screws. They'll be used to position the servo motor correctly. So we'll get those back in. All right, next step. This looks a little tricky in the instructions. It just shows the 2 screws that we left in this plate, those 2. It kind of gives a terrible picture that you can't tell which way it goes on this plate. It says remove the backing, the sticker on the back, and it looks as if it is wedged up against the angled piece that goes into the back. So if you kind of wedge it in there and push it down in, you can see you can get it to wedge in there. Kind of wedges and goes behind that, and kind of goes behind that, and goes behind that screw. So I'm hoping that's positioned correctly. We'll see. All right, it looks like it says take the screws out. Apparently they were just used for positioning, and his jaw might end up going right back in that spot. And then the next thing it says is to take this little notch guy, and there's a little bitty notch in the lower left hand corner, and it says to position it like such. Slide the blocking piece on metal plate like on pick. Be careful, position notch correctly here. So that's the only notch I see. So it looks like it kind of goes there. All right, so with that notch there in that lower left-hand corner, you slide it up, put it on, and it says slide it up to the servo motor. So it looks like it kind of boxes that in, and the actual metal plate sits in that notch. Hopefully. Looks like it's going decent though. And his picture's backwards here, but if you look at the picture there, it looks like he slides it up and says you have to force it. Forcing it is normal. And then it gives a measurement of 2 centimeters is what you're supposed to leave exposed there. So I'm thinking that's good. So the sleeve goes all the way up and holds that servo motor in place. All right, put a little light on the subject here. If you look, there's a little line and these 2 dots are exposed right next to the gear. There's 2 little dots, and you just kind of put that right where that line comes across, and you should be good. All right, next step is, looks like we're throwing this guy on. With the screws they provided, and it's going to be a little trickier than I think, so I'm going to get a different screwdriver. Alright, so
and then press the blue gun.
The 2 screws mount this to where it mounts on the back plate, and then the rod actually goes through, and you just kind of slide it up, make sure the flat part is at the top, and then this is a 7/32 M6 screw that you just tighten that down. So now when this moves, you can see it's going to move the whole body.
Thank you.
Apparently you don't need a 7/32. They give you this little tool that is the right size to go on there and tighten. Kind of a neat little tool they give you. Alright, then it says take these 2 long screws and push them through to where they're sticking out the back. I imagine that's going to go out the back and hold it. Alright, next step, it says to put the metal plate back in the T-Rex's head. He's got a metal plate in his head. Let's get this situated. Looks like that. Oh no. Dos. And that doesn't appear that it lifted the motor or anything. You might want to make sure when you're putting those screws back in that it doesn't pop up your servo motor and that everything seems to move like it should. Okay, all that's back in. Says lift the jaw, so I'm guessing that means put the jaw back in French, and then your T-Rex will be ready to be installed back in the game. Alright, so throw your 2 screws back in his mouth here. Tighten one too tight, now it's off center. back together, all set, ready to go through the back box. And then it's got, you put 2 little grommets down. I should have 2 of those little guys laying around here. And then these 2 screws, those are the 7/32, or you can use the tool to put them on. All right, you can see the 2 screws coming through there. Just use the little tool they provide and pull the harness through under the bottom side. Okay, there's where the plug goes. You can see it in there. Just the red and black wire go in there. And then he's also got a topper on this one that was already plugged into it, so I just spliced those 2 wires in, and you can see the little JP light is on, and the wires go down into the cabinet. So we'll pick up there. Okay, there's a white wire with the brown. You can see where I'm at in the back box of the play field, and it connects to the green and brown wire there. It's the harness on the top right, and this is the kind of activates the T-Rex, the different modes. So that gets clipped onto that wire there. And then you've got a wire here that's got a little white dot on it. That marries up with the white wire, and that feeds right into the back of the T-Rex there. So that's that harness. All right, next step is to route the wires underneath the yellow, the green, and the red. The red comes to this left orbit switch and just pushes on the bottom part of that switch there. There's a free pin, you just slide that right on. All right, kind of same as the left orbit. Locate that right orbit switch, and there's a free pin on the bottom of that switch. Throw the yellow connector onto that free pin there. You can see it's in the lower right hand corner of the back box there. All right, last wire is the red wire, comes all the way up to the start button, and it goes on the yellow and brown wire there. And I gotta zip tie all my wires back up because I've got some of them hanging here. You can see I had to get those tight and the red tight, kind of snake where they go, and should be done. All right, that's what she does here. Pretty cool.